Alright, we're going to use this photo here in order to create this sliced head top and then create a little shadow and fill it in. So this is the photo that I provided you in Microsoft Teams for the assignment. Okay, so what you're going to do is we're going to duplicate this. So I'm just left clicking, dragging it, and making a new layer. Alright, and then after you do that, I'm going to hide this one and we are going to call it background nothing. Okay, I'm going to actually remove the person out of here. So from the third tool down, it's the lasso tool. I'm going to select the person roughly. And what's going to happen is we're going to do something called a fill, and we're going to do a content aware. Okay, so we're going to easily remove this person out, lasso around, and then I go to edit, fill, and then I'm going to hit, this needs to be content aware. If it's something else, left click on it, switch to content aware, and then all of this is fine. I'm going to hit OK, and then I'm going to pause the video because this takes a while, because it's basically Photoshop is looking at all the other pixels around it, and then it's going to go ahead and try to remove that out. Alright, so Photoshop did a pretty good job of removing it using the content aware. I'm going to hit Control D to deselect. And now that I have my background, I'm going to duplicate the hidden background. I'm going to make it show up again, and I'm going to duplicate it again. I'm going to drag this above my original background. I'm going to hide this background layer. I'm just keeping it as a backup. Okay, so this is going to be head top. Alright, so when we go back to the one that I did, you can see I've gone ahead and I made these duplicate layers, and basically I need to go ahead and mask off, so just so that I have the top of the head. So what I'm going to do is go back to this one. I am going to use my elliptical marquee tool. Okay, if it's set to the rectangle, just right click, select that one, and then I'm going to lasso, it's like elliptical around to just get the top of the head. There we go, and that's what I want. So those pixels are selected. I'm going to mask it off, rectangle with the circle punched out, left click on that, it's gone. Now I need to go ahead and duplicate this background one more time. I'm going to show it, and then I'm going to move it up. Okay, so now here's the thing. I need to hide this because I want to see how much of the head top shows up. So if you don't have your ruler showing, you hit Control R and the rulers will show up. You can see mine popping up. You can pull some non-printing guide. So if I left click and drag, I know this is where the top of the head stops. Okay, I'm going to make this layer show up, and I'm going to double click on this, and I'm going to name it head 2. Okay, and so I know the top of the head stops there. I need to go ahead and use my elliptical tool. I'm going to select below that because it's almost going to give the guy a halo. Okay, I know I want to remove this part. I'm going to select inverse. Okay, so right now I should be able to keep this but then remove this part. Okay, I'm going to hide this so I can see what's going on. Then I'm going to mask it. See, now that part's cut out. Okay, I want to remove the top of his hair. So I'm going to elliptical drag. If you didn't see this, what I did is I left clicked on the mask area, left click and drag, and then I'm going to use the paint bucket tool, and I'm going to left click and fill in. So now the top of his head is missing. I'm going to hit Control D to deselect. So now when I put the two pieces together, he has this gap right here, right? Okay, we are going to create a new layer here. I'm going to call it red oval. That is going to put a red oval. So all I'm going to do is use the elliptical tool. I'm going to left click and drag, and it doesn't have to be exact because we can always transform it. I'm going to hit the G on my keyboard to get paint bucket tool. You can double click on the foreground color and then you can set it for whatever color you want. I'm going to go for red. I'm going to hit OK. Tap the letter G on my keyboard, and I'm going to fill that in. I'm going to hit Control D to deselect. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to hit Control T now because it does need to be scaled a little bit. I'm going to need to adjust it. Double double click on the inside, and then I'm going to actually drag the red oval below. So now, see, I can move it and match it up with his head. Alright, the next thing is head top. I want to move it and I want to tilt it. I'm going to hit Control D, and then I'm going to rotate it, and I'm going to rotate it so he's kind of tilted, like it's opening, like Pac-Man's mouth. I'm going to double click on it. Okay, so it's tilted. You're going to notice that some of the background, now the color shifted a little bit on that. So what I'm going to do is I am going to use my magic eraser tool. I right click, it might be set to eraser, right click, go to magic eraser. And this is pretty much, if I hide this, see how that's one solid color? It should easily, if I left click, so I'm just going to drop that out. So now when I put it back together, I'm not seeing that shift in color. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one more layer. I'll drag it in between the two heads, double click on that, and we're going to call it shadow. So now I can go ahead and start thinking about how I'm going to add that shadow. So I am going to hold the Control key, left click on this mask. Okay, see how I left click on the mask, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Select, Modify, and we are going to expand. We're going to make it about 20, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move that. And I switched over to my marquee tool, so I don't actually move the head pixels here. I'm just going to move this, and then I'm going to use my paintbrush tool, and I'm going to select the black, hit OK, tap B for brush, and then I'm going to paint in the shadow. All I'm doing is just filling in there. Deselect. I'm going to move my shadow over a little bit. I tap the E for erase tool. I'm just going to erase away some of the shadow that's going past the oval. Okay. Alright, so I've got that. It's a little bit harsh right now, so I'm going to go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. Okay, and I set it for 30. You can do whatever value you think. 20 looks pretty good too. I'll hit OK. And then I want to clear this guide. I can go to View. We can clear guides. And now I have the guy, and his head has been sliced off. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to hit File, Save As. You want to keep a Photoshop version of it. I'm going to type my name at the end of it. Hit Save. And then I am going to go, after it finishes saving here, I can see its progress down at the bottom. I'm going to save as, I'm going to save it as a JPEG. So that file will flatten all of the layers down. I can do 8 for high, hit OK, and then you're done.